I do want to thank you for attending today. Like we said, we're going to answer some of your questions. Sherry has some of those queued up. Understand if you have to drop off early because we're at the top of the hour here. But please continue to follow us. You can follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, or on YouTube, where our video recording of this presentation will be posted in just a few days. So, Sherry, do we have some questions for either me or Charles?
Boy, we do have some questions, and they're pretty much evenly divided. But there are a couple of them that more than one person asked. And Charles, I think I'm going to give these to you.
Okay.
First of all, it's the burning question. Both you and Mike mentioned I-9 verification, and people are wondering what that is.
Okay, great. The I-9 verification is basically a form that serves as a checkoff list. For example, whenever you're hiring a new employee, there's certain documentation that you must check to verify that that person is who they say they are. So the I-9 form provides you with a checklist. For example, you have to use 2 or more documents to verify their identity. You can use a passport, you can use a driver's license, a social security card, if they don't have a driver's license, a driver ID card as well. And you can use any of those to verify their identity, but you must use a minimum of 2. And on the I-9 form, there will be an area where you can enter the social security number of the individual and the card's number itself, also the driver's license number and the state in which it was issued. You can also enter, for example, as a third form of documentation, the passport number as well. And that file, the I-9 form, you would actually keep it in the employee record file, so in the primary file. And within that file, you must store it in that file. And, for example, if the person, it later becomes known that this person, for example, is not here legally, isn't authorized to work, is using someone else's identity, and let's say the INS comes or the Department of Homeland Security does an audit of your records, you will have this documentation support that you did your due diligence while hiring this candidate. So the I-9 form is basically a document that verifies the person's identity by entering different document numbers, for example, driver's license or social security number and passport numbers. So this will serve as evidence for you if there ever is an employment issue with an employee.
Thanks, Charles. And then one more question that we've had more than one person ask. Can employee records be taken out of the office by official personnel? And if you can give us a short answer to that, we've still got some other questions in the queue.
Okay, perfect. You always want to keep personnel records on location, okay? If you take personnel records with you or employee records with you, and, for example, you put them in your trunk, you put them in your back seat, your front seat, you could stop at a mall on the way home, or you could stop at a gas station, you can make a stop anywhere. Someone can break into your car, and all of a sudden, they have all of this personal information on one of your employees that can be used for identity theft and a whole host of other crimes. So you never want to do that. Additionally, if you take the information home, the same thing can happen. Theft, the records can be destroyed somehow, and then you won't have those records available for you to defend in any type of litigation that is filed against you. So you always want to make sure that you store them securely at the job place or at the location of work in the HR office, and make sure that you never take it off premises. That is not a best practice.
Okay, great. Now we're going to give Mike one. This is a question about Peachtree, Mike. You showed us a lot of areas and fields where we can store a lot of employee information. Can any of those fields be printed? For example, the emergency contact?
Yes, actually, there is a report that you'll find in the payroll report group within Peachtree, and it's called the employee list. And so if you print that out, if you don't see the fields that you want, those employee fields printed on that report, click the column button, and you'll have a choice to check off dozens of additional fields, including those that we took a look at, and those will print on that form.
Great. And then we know that we can track vacation and sick days in Peachtree. Is there a calendar where you can mark them?
There isn't a calendar, no. So that's a great idea that we've had before. So that may be something that's coming up in a future Peachtree release.
Okay. And Charles, this sounds like someone who's having a specific problem. I'm going to give this to you quickly. What are the guidelines for salaried employees' work hours? For instance, can they come and go as they please, or can the employer set definite work hours?
Well, as the employer, you can set the work hours. For example, let's say 8 to 5 or 8 to 4 o'clock. You set the work hours. However, you must have policies in place to make sure that salaried employees aren't taking advantage of that by coming in late or leaving early. You should have a discipline policy that addresses tardiness or absenteeism, things of that nature. So make sure that you have those in place. You set the hours as the employer, and the employees must provide you with the dates on which, let's say, call you ahead with dates on when they're going to take vacation, or in the morning if they're going to be out sick that day, make sure that they communicate that to you. But salaried employees should not be allowed to come and go as they please. You have to set guidelines to make sure that they are actually doing the work that they are being paid for.
Okay, great. And then just one more, and then we'll try to take the rest of them offline or answer your questions individually after the conference. And we've gotten this question a couple of times. People are wondering, is there a list of record-keeping regulations by state? We know the federal ones, but they vary by state. Does HR 411 have that information?
Yes, we have a lot of different information on our website. One of our great resources that we have available for our clients is that we actually have what we call state and federal resources and state and federal labor laws. Whenever you have a question that's specific to your state or specific to the federal guidelines or regulations, you can actually just from a drop-down menu select your state and then select the topic that you are looking information on, and you will receive summaries of those laws, basically in layman's terms, and information on how to become compliant with those laws and what you need to know to make sure that you don't expose yourself to legal liability. Additionally, we also have checklists available on our website, which will tell you exactly what the personnel record retention times are for certain types of documents, and that's available right on our website.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank Charles and Mike both for the peek into Peachtree and the peek into what we really need to be doing to keep track of and to stay on top of our employees and the records that are attached to them. And so I thank both of you. I want to reiterate that we're going to have this recording available on the Peachtree by Sage YouTube channel. And if you haven't logged on to that, there's lots of very interesting things in there. We have a couple of customer visits that we went on, and we also have some little short microbites that we put in our outbound emails to you that explain more about some of the functionality that you'll find in Peachtree 2010. Thanks for coming. If we didn't answer your questions, we will answer those later offline, and we also will try to make this presentation available in PDF form so you can download it too. Thank you all so much.